So I just wanted to talk for a minute while I'm sipping my morning coffee and about to get on my way to work to open up the kitchen. I think most chefs don't realize it. Most employers don't realize it. But when I explain it, I think it will become very clear how messed up some of this stuff is that we do to each other, to ourselves, to the industry. Now, most of you probably won't agree with me on this, but as employers, we need to be like parents to our employees. We need to be even-tempered people that they can count on for a response, that they can count on for guidance that is going to be consistent, that is going to be fair, that has reason behind it. You know, if you wouldn't speak to a child that way, why would you speak to your employees that way? Because there are so many parallels. And now I'm not saying that you have to treat every employee as some permanent member of your family and you have to tolerate everything that they do. Sometimes there are fireable offenses, and we do have to protect our cultures at large by letting go of people who refuse to change, who refuse to uphold the standards that we want to uphold. That is essential, pruning the tree. However, sickness starts at the roots, and you will never know what to prune unless you are healing the tree as a whole. And what I mean by that is that these people rely on you for their livelihoods, oftentimes for their families' livelihoods. They rely on you for guidance in the futures of their careers. They rely on you for guidance in the moment. They rely on you for stress relief day to day. They rely on you. And so to let them down by being explosive, demanding, hypervigilant is a letdown. And I think that, the analogy here is we've all had that one friend in high school who had the overbearing, overly strict parents. And what happened to them? Did they become even-keeled, calm-tempered, well-adjusted people? I argue in most cases they did not. And if they did it in spite of their parents, because they knew at some point they learned how toxic it was. For the most part, these kids grow up to be either angry or overly anxious, scared of life. Or they get sneaky and they learn to do their own things behind the backs of their parents. And the same is true for employees. If you become overbearing, explosive, hypervigilant, your employees will go behind your back, or they will become overly anxious at work and will not be living up to the maximum of their potential. They will eventually reach burnout. They will run away from home. They will do all of these self-destructive behaviors because they, on a subconscious level, don't feel safe with you. And we all have accidents. We all have slip-ups. We need to recognize that. But when those happen, we need to apologize quickly and directly and move forward with some act of reparations there. I argue that more than most careers in this world, being a chef is like being a parent. I don't care if that person is 45 years old with 2 kids and 20 years of experience, or is 19 and green as hell. You have to be even-keeled, even-tempered, consistent, fair, all of those things, because otherwise you're going to create an atmosphere of uncertainty that they will not be able to safely explore their world in, safely explore their boundaries in. And that's dangerous, not only for each individual, not only for each restaurant, but for the culture as a whole. If we want to get over the way that this industry is, if we want to stop feeling like kings at the end of the night and then going home and hating ourselves for days on end, We need to get over this generational trauma of restaurant work. We need to get over this idea that because my chef was mean to me and I had to do these things, I need to act like this to shape you into a great chef and yada, yada, yada. It's not true. You know, if you've had an abusive parent, like, you're not gonna abuse your kid into greatness. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's completely nonsensical. Is what you do is you do the work on yourself and you raise that next generation to be better. You raise them without that fear, without that uncertainty, without that unkindness and coldness. And, you know, I think that as a collective, we all carry a lot of this generational trauma. And you hear stories from all of your great chef friends and all of these people about how, you know, they had this one chef that just pissed them off, that got them so angry and so worked up that they worked in spite of them to become great. It wasn't the guidance of that chef that got them there. It was the spite to be better than that, to not be that. And then we go on and pass that down again. And it's sick. It's upsetting to see. And we need to be better. And all I'm saying here, I guess in summation, is that as an employer, as a chef, as a decent human, we need to be more like parents to our employees. We need to be calm. We need to be happy, even-keeled people that they can trust for an even response, so that they can come to us and ask questions, so that they don't have to sneak around us, so that they don't have to go home and feel like a burnt-out piece of shit. Because I know for a fact that none of us want that. None of us as leaders want that to be the way things are. None of us want to lead in toxic environments, but I think some of us are missing that fundamental idea that the calmness and evenness, the way that you would speak to a child, is oftentimes the way that you should speak to your employees. You know, not baby talk, but being a consistent person who is not projecting their own anger, their own fears, their own insecurities onto that situation, and then propagating this cycle. We can grow out of this, but it's only through making these healthy, conscious decisions. And yes, sometimes it's hard to keep your cool, but learn some coping mechanisms. Walk away. Go to the next room. Scream your head off in private somewhere. But whatever you do, don't pass your trauma on to the chefs and the cooks below you, because it's only hurting our industry more and more. And there's less and less young people coming into this business. Our hiring pools are getting weaker and weaker. And it's because everyone's starting to tell their friends how horrible this is, how awful this is, and how much that this propagates this toxic, awful lifestyle. I don't think I have more to say there, but thank you. I love you. Be kind.